The American dream. Big data is believed to have played a big role in the 2016 election. How big? Well, my next guest is well placed to answer that question. He is the man who pioneered the model that can determine your most intimate personality traits based on your digital footprint. Taking just 68 of your Facebook likes, Dr. Mikhail Kozinski's model can accurately predict your skin color, sexuality, whether you are a Democrat or Republican or a Trump supporter. Add a few more, and based on 300 Facebook likes, the model is said to know you better than you know yourself. What does this have to do with Donald Trump's victory, fake news, and targeted social media? Here to discuss, Dr. Mikhail Kozinski from Stanford Business School. So let's start with the Trump thing. As you know, there is this theory out there, partly fueled by the Trump campaign, that it had this very clever analysis of big data helped by a company called Cambridge Analytics, and that was allowed them to that's what allowed them to identify Trump voters, find ways to get them more active, and ultimately the argument goes to win the election. What do you say?
Well, both sides were certainly using big data and targeted marketing to win over voters. But I think we should remember that it's not big data that wins the election. At the end of the day, it's candidates and what they have to say and what's the mood of the voters at a given point of time.
But the underlying theory behind that argument is the theory that you really have helped pioneer, which is that using a certain number of things that we all do on the internet, what songs we buy, what Amazon books or products we look at, you can predict things that are much deeper and don't seem necessarily associated, right? Explain some of that.
Yes, that's correct. So actually, computers are very good at predicting our intimate traits. Sometimes they are better than our closed ones, and I would argue that they are often better than we are ourselves very often. And it's really simple, really. If you looked at my Facebook profile or my Twitter profile, you would probably not have much trouble figuring out what my political views are or what my personality is. Now, a computer can do the same thing, basically by analyzing large amounts of data from your Twitter profile, your email, your playlists, your Facebook profile, and so on. It can create a very accurate and intimate psychodemographic profile of yourselves, of you and other people. And now, this information can obviously be used in marketing, and specifically in political marketing. If I have a detailed knowledge of psychodemographic profiles of a large number of people, I can use this information to craft individual messages and speak individually to each of those people and try to make this message as convincing and relevant to them as possible.
And to be clear, all this is widely available, and companies like Facebook and Google and Amazon will sell this data to anyone who wants to buy it.
Well, I think it's a bit more complicated than that, but definitely companies like Facebook or Google provide platforms that can be used by marketing companies to target people based on their interests, political affiliations, and so on.
Are some of these things, things that human beings can't do? Because one of the things that computers are very good at doing is analyzing massive amounts of data and massive correlations, so that I may have certain preferences and you may look at them and say, yeah, that probably means, well, I don't know, if you like Simon and Garfunkel, he has this kind of politics or something. But then the computer can look at millions and millions of people and millions of patterns.
Exactly. So not only computer can look at millions or billions of people and in a very short time create their detailed psychodemographic profiles, but also computer can use information that perhaps for humans would not be very informative, right? So if you see me following Obama or Bernie Sanders on Twitter, it's not a complicated task to figure out what my political views would be. But now if you see that I listen to Lady Gaga or Simon and Garfunkel, that's a piece of information that humans would struggle to interpret simply because both Republicans and Democrats listen to Lady Gaga. Now, what computer can do, computer can go and look at this data in much more detail. It can look at millions of people, and I bet that there would be a small difference between how likely the Republicans are to listen to Lady Gaga and how likely Democrats are to listen to Lady Gaga, something that for a human being is not perceptible. Now, does it mean that if you listen to Lady Gaga, you're Republican or Democrat? Not at all. There's just this little tiny, bordering on insignificant amount of information in each digital footprint like that. But now the algorithm can aggregate information from thousands or millions of crumbs of information and then create a very accurate prediction.
What are the ethical dilemmas of wading into these waters?
Well, we have to remember that governments, companies, and organizations can use the very technology that can be used for your good. They can turn it against you. Now, how they can turn it against you? Well, they can, behind your back, without you knowing, try to infer your intimate traits, such as your political views, your sexual orientation, your personality, and intelligence. And now, actually, in a country as free and open-minded as America, it's probably not a big issue today. Maybe you'll get some creepy marketing. But we have to remember that the same technologies are being used by governments in way less liberal countries, where revealing your political views or revealing your religiosity or your sexual orientation can be really a matter of life and death.
That's a very important point. So you're saying that, I mean, the Russian government, which is very media savvy and tech savvy, as we know, can probably determine where its the opposition to it lies without anybody ever saying anything, without anybody ever publishing an op-ed or attending a demonstration.
Exactly. Just based on your music playlist or the books that you have read, even if you have never read anything directly related to politics, computer algorithms can turn these seemingly innocent data into very accurate predictions of your intimate traits.
Mikhail Kozinski, pleasure to have you on.
Thank you, sir.